There's a figure in the basketball world who sparks more hatred than any dirty player, any crooked ref, or any billionaire owner ruining franchises. A guy who never hit a three-pointer in the NBA, but lives rent-free in the minds of millions of fans for all the worst reasons. A skinny dude who doesn't play, doesn't coach, doesn't run a team, yet somehow became, without a sweaty jersey or a twisted ankle, one of the most hated characters in all of basketball culture. And no, we're not talking about LeBron or Draymond or some wild ESPN analyst. We're talking about someone who's probably on your console right now, who comes back every September like the villain in a horror movie, who says he understands you while emptying your wallet. Who is Ronnie 2K? Why does the community call him a compulsive liar, a manipulator, a professional hype artist? And how did all the hate for a game as beloved as NBA 2K end up landing on his face? In this video, we're going to break down his story, his rise, his screw-ups, and the twisted psychology behind the most played basketball game in the world. Get ready, because what you're about to see isn't just shady, it's cosmic. Ronnie Singh is not your average guy, and that's not meant as a compliment. He's someone who's always been on the fringes of sports, elbowing his way into a world that never really wanted him inside. Born in California in 1982, the son of a truck driver and a seamstress, working class, immigrant family, but with ambition. In school, like so many kids his age, he wanted to play basketball. At over 6 feet 3 inches by high school, he looked like he had everything it took to make the team, except talent. He never made the roster. His memories of that time aren't of epic games, but of long hours shooting alone, watching his shot fall apart as his body grew too fast. He said it himself, his mechanics broke down because his body couldn't keep up. That frustration stuck with him. Since he couldn't stand out on the court, he looked for another role. He became the school's game announcer, the guy on the mic, calling plays like it was the NBA Finals. He found his place in the narrative, in the hype, not in the game itself. He studied economics with a minor in law at the University of California and worked as a legal assistant, but law wasn't suits, it was paperwork and photocopies, so he dropped it all for sports. Again, from the sidelines, he worked for the San Diego Siege of the National Women's Basketball League as head of media relations. He ran press conferences, worked with players, even lived through the finals from the inside. When the league folded, he moved on to minor league baseball with the Surf Dogs, where he signed none other than Jose Canseco, yes, that Canseco, the steroid scandal icon, and launched a viral campaign handing out juice boxes with Canseco's face on them. In the pre-social media era, Ronnie already understood how to get attention. The showman was born, a guy more in love with fame than with the game. For many, Ronnie seemed to appear out of nowhere in 2K, but the truth is, he infiltrated the ecosystem like any true geek through the forums. He started as a fan, commenting on theories, posting ideas for the game, dropping fake leaks. He had the gift of gab, charisma, and just the right dose of hype. 2K hired him in 2008 as a community manager back when the modern concept of a corporate influencer didn't even exist, and instead of clarifying his role, he played with the ambiguity. He never mentioned in his bio that he worked for 2K. On Twitter, he'd say things like, "I've got leaked footage from NBA 2K1, retweet and I'll DM it to you." He posed as an insider, a fan with privileged info when he was already on the company payroll. He did it to gain followers, to build clout. Today, that would be illegal under current social media marketing regulations. But in 2009, it was the Wild West. The irony? Ronnie, who built his brand by playing the leaker, now hates leakers. He trashes them, blocks them, shuts them out of community days. He became the exact kind of guy he would have despised. And worse, he does it all with that fake smile, "I'm the face of the game." But Ronnie didn't stop there. He started showing up at events, hanging out with rappers, taking selfies with influencers. He became the face of NBA 2K, not as a developer, not as a creative, but as a kind of artificial celebrity. He didn't code, didn't design, didn't create anything, but he was everywhere. Ronnie had found a way to write his name into the history of virtual basketball without hitting a single three, and that's exactly the problem. As 2K grew in sales and popularity, so did Ronnie. But with fame came ego, and with ego, the screw-ups. Because selling a product is one thing, believing you're more important than the product is something else entirely. Ronnie started acting like he was just another NBA star, but without the game, without the respect, and without the code. In 2017, John Wall publicly called him out over his 2K18 rating. They gave him a 90, and Wall, who had just averaged 20 points and 10 assists per game, exploded on Twitter. "You're a joke," he said. Ronnie clapped back with sarcasm, and fans watched the drama unfold live. They ended up blocking each other. Then came the DeMarcus Cousins scandal. Ronnie, not realizing he was live on stream, answered a call on speaker and said, "Boogie's a dumbass, he probably doesn't even want to do this."
That's assuming that Cousins is such a dick. Like, I could see him just being like, "I don't want to fucking do this."
No way.
Not to mention his matchup would be annoying too.
It was all recorded. Cousins replied with a gif, "Now you fucked up." The damage was done, but the cherry on top, was Ben Simmons. After beefing online over his rating, they ended up at the same Nike event. Ronnie demanded a photo of Simmons holding the game too, give him his free copy. But he didn't stop there. He posted the pic with a petty caption, "This guy doesn't even play 2K or know who I am, but here he is, arm around me, posing with the game." That constant need to show himself as the boss drove people insane. Ronnie had crossed the line. He was no longer the game's spokesperson. He had become a troll with power. If there's one thing that defines Ronnie 2K, it's his problematic relationship with the truth. We're not talking about mistakes or misunderstandings. We're talking about straight up lies. Promises sold as official features, announcements made in streams, interviews, and tweets that never came true. And not once, not twice. It's a pattern. In 2020, he said you'd be able to respect your build. Players created their characters based on that promise, and it never happened. In 2017, he hyped Yeezy's coming to the game. Spoiler, not even the Souls showed up. Once, with a smug tone, he said, "What you saw is not the neighborhood when it was literally the same map from the year before. There are clips, there's proof, and the worst part, he said it with that sassy confidence like a teenager throwing shade on TikTok. Other gems, pie charts are gone, exclusive new park, we nerfed the snatchback, all false." The community started tracking his lies like stats. Some even collected them as memes, but this isn't just funny, it's infuriating. Because people spend money on pre-orders, VC, builds based on his word. And when they find out it was all smoke, Ronnie just vanishes. Or worse, he posts a pic on a yacht with an influencer like nothing happened. This guy didn't just lose credibility, he torched it. And the most unbelievable part, it's that he's still the face of the game. The community hates him, creators roast him, and players have been cursing him out for years. But there's one question that floats above all the chaos. Is Ronnie really to blame, or just the one who shows his face? Here's where it gets interesting, because even though Ronnie is the one who speaks, tweets, gives interviews, and takes selfies with streamers, there are decisions being made far above his pay grade. He's not a developer, he doesn't write code, he doesn't build the game engine, he doesn't set how much VC a pair of virtual sneakers costs, and yet all the community's venom lands on him. Why? Because he sold himself as the voice of the people. And when you betray that trust, there's no coming back. Plenty of top creators have said it clearly. Ronnie 2K is a scapegoat. While everyone directs their anger at him, the real decision makers, the execs at Take-Two and Visual Concepts operate quietly behind the scenes. They're the ones who designed the monetization model. They approve the battle passes. They raise the prices. They decide to release the same game under a new name year after year. But Ronnie takes the blame, and to be fair, he kind of earned it. Because instead of standing up as a bridge between the devs and the players, he became a celebrity marketer. A guy who would rather invite TikTokers with 10 million followers than listen to someone who's been grinding my career for a decade. And that's not being a community manager, that's being a faceplate. The real problem is that his role was built for this. Ronnie's not there to make the game better. He's there to absorb the hate, to be the lightning rod, to take the heat, so no one looks too closely at the twisted business model that's slowly destroying a legendary franchise. This is where the real monster reveals itself, because beyond Ronnie, what 2K has built is a manipulation machine so precise it would make a Las Vegas casino blush. What used to be a basketball video game is now a behavioral psychology experiment disguised as a sports sim. It all started with the arrival of VC, virtual currency, in 2K13. At first, it was a cute little bonus, but as one of the documents we analyzed put it, it became a slippery slope. Once you're in, there's no way out. Because the system is designed to create pain. Literally, your player starts off as a disaster. Can't run, can't defend, can't hit layups. He feels slow, clumsy, useless. And not because that's what being a rookie is like, but because the devs intentionally programmed him to be that way. The trick is simple. If you want the suffering to stop, you have to pay, and not a little. Today, leveling up a single build to a competitive level costs over $100 in real money. Want to try a different build? Get ready to drop another 100. Made a wrong choice? Too bad. No refunds. This isn't progression, it's psychological torture with a credit card. And all the while, 2K keeps calling itself the most realistic basketball simulator. But in real life, you get better by training. In 2K, you get better by paying. It doesn't matter how many threes you hit in the virtual gym, if your rating's low, you'll still brick. This isn't meritocracy, it's monetocracy. And that constant frustration, it's not a bug, it's the product. Because the more pain you feel, the more likely you are to cave. It's a system built to break you, then sell you the fix. A perfect trap, engineered to the decimal, where the only way out is to keep paying more. If you thought the My Career mode was toxic, wait to get into My Team, the darkest part of this whole circus. Here we're no longer talking about limited progression, we're talking about a full-time casino disguised as a game for kids. My Team sells you the promise of building the team of your dreams, Jordan with Kobe, LeBron with Shaq, Curry with Durant. But to get them, you have to open envelopes, packs, loot boxes. Each one costs VC, and the chances of getting a legendary card are minimal, literally minimal. We're talking about probabilities of 0.1% or less. And what happens if you don't get one? You buy another, and another, and another. Welcome to the addiction circle. Because like any good gacha system, it appeals to the player's bias. I've already spent so much, I can't stop now. What in behavioral economics is called the sunk cost fallacy, and that 2K exploits better than anyone. But the shadiest thing is that the game puts constant social pressure. If you don't have the new cards, you can't compete. Your team becomes obsolete in weeks. The game forces you to spend to keep up, and it does it in front of everyone. You see others with rare sneakers, exclusive dances, shiny jerseys, and you, with your bronze team, feel ashamed. You're not only losing, you're looking like a poor guy. It's Barbie for kids, but with NBA jerseys. A status system where the only way to be worth something is to spend, and every step you take, every item you see, every NPC phrase reminds you the same thing. You're not enough until you pay. And there's Ronnie, smiling, presenting the new pack, interviewing an NBA star, saying that this year's game is coming with everything, while you, a hardcore fan, feel your wallet shake more than your controller. By this point in the video, dear geeks, one wonders how the hell is he still there? If players hate him, creators criticize him, developers ignore him, why is Ronnie 2K still the face of the most important virtual basketball franchise? The answer is as shady as it is obvious. Ronnie is not a bug in the system. Ronnie is the system. His role within 2K is no longer just that of a communicator or community manager. According to his official bio, he is now head of digital lifestyle marketing. That is, the guy who turns basketball into pop culture. He's there to crash fashion events, snap pics with artists, invite streamers to launches, and rub elbows with TikTok influencers who don't even know how to dribble a ball. He's a digital socialite, a cool ambassador, a human decoration who puts on a happy face while the game sinks, and he does it with a smile as if nothing's happening, as if the criticism were just haters. Meanwhile, his LinkedIn proudly lists that he's also involved in philanthropy, that he collaborates with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, that he works with the 2K Foundation restoring courts, and look, all that may be true, but there's something that doesn't add up. How can someone be so committed to noble causes and at the same time be part of the most aggressive, unfair, and addictive monetization system in modern gaming? It's simple, because that image of the nice philanthropist is part of the marketing. It's there to cover up. So when someone criticizes him, others come out defending him, saying, hey, but he helped kids with cancer. It's an emotional shield, a moral bulletproof vest that protects him from real criticism. While you pay $70 for the base game and $160 more in battle passes, he posts a story hugging Quavo saying an epic year is coming. And the most perverse thing of all is that the system needs him to be there, because Ronnie plays a double role. On one hand, he's the visible scapegoat for everything that goes wrong. On the other, he's the friendly face that justifies things staying the same. If they removed him, maybe the community would demand real changes. But with Ronnie in the middle, the focus is always on him, not on what's behind it all, a business model that turned virtual basketball into a wallet-milking machine. So why is he still there? Because it benefits everyone. First to take two, because he distracts influencers, because he opens doors, and him because he built an empire of artificial fame. Ronnie is the carnival puppet everyone hates but never falls, because he's made for that, to take the hits and stay standing, always smiling. Ronnie 2K was never a player, never a developer, never a designer, nor a programmer, not even a content creator. Worse yet, he was never charismatic or especially likable. But he achieved something that not even the most hated villains of real basketball managed, becoming the symbol of contempt. Not for being the worst, but for representing the worst. Because when you look at Ronnie, you're not seeing a guy who ruined the game with his own hands, you're seeing the emissary, the one who takes the fall while the real puppet masters decide how much you're going to spend this year, how many builds you'll have to delete, and how much frustration they'll put in your way so you give in and put down your card. It's easy to blame him, and in many cases deserved. But it's easier to forget that behind that neat hairstyle, which, spoiler alert, has been a wig for years because he's gone quite bold from stress, behind that tight suit, behind those marketing phrases, there's just another cog in a machine that feeds off player pain, that turns the passion for basketball into a premium experience where talent is bought and progress is rented by the hour. Ronnie is the enemy we can see, the one in the stands shouting from his VIP box while the rest play in broken sneakers. But the real enemy is in the offices. And you, are you going to keep falling for the trap year after year? If this video left your brain sweating and your hands trembling with anger, don't forget to smash that like button, because this isn't over yet. We're going to keep digging into the basketball industry, gaming, and the hidden messes they want to sell you as fun. So if you want more juicy info like this, subscribe, hit the bell, and stay on the team that doesn't sell smoke.